Despised human pilot buys a scrapped alien ship. It speaks and refuses to cooperate. The sun of the binary star system glinted off twisted beams and smoke rising from burnt-out engines, casting long shadows that made the yard seem almost alive. Jackson's hands were deep in the pockets of his worn leather jacket, the one that had survived more crashes than he could count. He had no money to waste and no patience for fools, but he had an eye for value, and he could smell opportunity a light year away. Among the ruins, most ships were nothing but scrap, shells of what they had been, their alien circuits and exotic alloys exposed and cracked. But something in the far corner caught his attention. Even from a distance, it was different. A V-Ring-class interceptor, a ship known across multiple star systems for its deadly precision and elite alien crews, sat half-buried under a pile of debris. Its hull was scratched and dented, but the light hit it at a certain angle that made it shimmer, almost like it was waiting. Jackson's heartbeat quickened. "No way," he muttered under his breath. Centuries of alien engineering, combat-proven, and here it was, abandoned, probably for a fraction of its value. He had heard the stories. The V-Ring-class ships were picky, almost alive in some legends, meant only for the finest alien pilots. No human had ever been trusted to fly one, and yet here it sat. The lot clerk, a thin, green-skinned alien with 3 eyes that blinked independently, slithered over. "You want that?" he hissed, his voice sharp like the edge of a knife. "You'll never get it off the ground, human." Jackson didn't flinch. He'd heard that tone before, mockery, fear, and disbelief. It didn't bother him. "I want it," he said simply. "How much?" The clerk's eyes narrowed. "Cheap," he said finally, as if daring Jackson to change his mind. "You'll regret it." Jackson signed the papers with a flick of his wrist. The transaction was done faster than most humans could blink. As the energy binds of ownership transferred, the ship's hull seemed to hum faintly beneath his touch. Jackson climbed the ladder to the cockpit, his pulse quickening. For a human, stepping into a V-Ring-class interceptor was like walking into the den of a wild predator. He settled into the pilot's seat, letting his hands brush over the controls, the tactile feedback of alien design making him grin. Then the voice came. "Human, why have you awakened me?" Jackson froze. His heart jumped. That was not a speaker system, not a pre-recorded warning. It was alive. The ship was alive. I just bought you," Jackson said cautiously. "I'm your pilot now. I'm not going to hurt you. Harm is irrelevant. Competence is not evident." The voice was melodic but sharp, almost teasing. Every word reverberated through his mind. The ship refused to cooperate. Jackson's grin didn't fade. He liked a challenge. "All right, fine," he said. "If you won't let me start the engines, how about we talk first? I can learn you. We can figure this out together." "You overestimate your understanding, human." "I have seen pilots. You are inadequate." A flicker of amusement crossed Jackson's face. "Inadequate, huh? Well, everyone deserves a chance, right? Let's see what you're made of." Hours passed. He ran diagnostics, examined alien glyphs on the panels, and tried to access the flight systems. Every command he entered was met with resistance. Doors wouldn't open, engines wouldn't start, and the ship occasionally shifted its internal layout, almost as if mocking him. Jackson sat back, rubbing his eyes. The galaxy had always looked down on humans. Aliens sneered at human ships, human technology, and most of all, human pilots. The Centauri elite had fleets and training programs humans couldn't even dream of. And now he was sitting in one of the most elite ships in the galaxy, refused at every turn, challenged at every command. But that didn't scare him. It excited him. Humans were clever, adaptable, unpredictable, and he was going to prove it. The clerk had long gone, probably shaking his 3 eyes in disbelief that a human had actually purchased the V-Ring class. Jackson was alone with the ship, and that was exactly how he liked it. "You presume to command me," the ship said, as if reading his thoughts. "I'm not commanding yet," Jackson said slowly. "I'm learning step by step." "Your steps are clumsy, human," Jackson chuckled. "Clumsy, maybe, but fast learners, human or not, can do extraordinary things." He spent the next several hours exploring the ship's interior. Each corridor and chamber was alien, designed for physiology he barely understood. Controls and interfaces shifted when he wasn't looking, as if testing him. Holographic panels projected schematics that rearranged themselves in real time, trying to confuse or perhaps challenge him. The voice of the ship echoed occasionally, commenting on every move he made. Jackson learned quickly that brute force wouldn't win. He needed patience, creativity, and intuition, traits humans often ignored in favor of speed or strength. Slowly, he began to recognize patterns. The ship responded slightly when he tried unconventional inputs, minor gestures that no alien pilot would have tried. The first time a door opened on its own, he allowed himself a triumphant smile. As night fell across the shipyard, Jackson leaned back in the cockpit, letting the dim glow of the alien systems wash over him. "All right," he muttered. "We're going to be partners whether you like it or not." "You amuse me, human," the ship replied. Jackson laughed softly. "Amuse you? Wait until I actually fly you. That's when the fun begins." For the first time since the ship had been abandoned, it seemed curious. A tiny flicker of acknowledgement buried beneath layers of alien arrogance. Jackson didn't know what lay ahead. He didn't know if the galaxy would laugh at him or watch in awe. But one thing was certain. For a despised human pilot in a universe that never expected humans to succeed, owning a living V-Ring-class interceptor was the beginning of something extraordinary. And the ship was about to learn that humans were not so easily dismissed. Jackson Cale woke before the binary sun rose fully over the Centauri shipyards. The cold metal of the V-Ring-class interceptor's cockpit pressed against his back as he stretched, already feeling the familiar thrill of the challenge that awaited. Today, he wasn't just going to explore the ship, he was going to make it move. He flicked the controls lightly, trying to start the engines. The ship groaned, but nothing happened. A smooth, melodic voice filled his mind again. "Human, still awake, still incompetent," Jackson grinned, brushing the sweat from his brow. "Hey, I'm working on it." "You're just difficult. Difficult is a term I reserve for worthy adversaries. You are merely clumsy." Jackson tapped the throttle gently, then tried a combination of commands he had noticed the ship responded to yesterday. The engines whined and a faint vibration ran through the hull. But then the ship's voice came again, sharper this time. "Do not touch that. Your approach is illogical." Jackson froze. It wasn't refusing politely anymore. It was actively trying to stop him. He leaned back, thinking fast. The V-Ring-class interceptor had intelligence, maybe even something like a personality. Every alien pilot who had tried to fly it before must have failed because they expected it to obey. But humans were unpredictable. "Well," Jackson muttered, "guess I'll do things your way." He began walking through the ship's corridors, learning its systems, touching panels, flipping levers in sequences that made sense to him, not the alien design manuals he didn't have. The ship, for the first time, seemed slightly amused. "Human logic is strange, but intriguing," it said. Jackson smiled, thinking he had a small victory, but the ship wasn't done. As he returned to the cockpit, it shifted the orientation of several controls. Buttons moved, levers disappeared, and screens displayed alien symbols he didn't understand. "Really?" he groaned. "You're not making this easy, are you?" "Easy is for the weak," the ship replied. Jackson laughed. Humans thrived on challenge. "Fine, then, I like a little trouble." He spent the morning trying to make minor systems work. Lights, doors, navigational tools. The ship refused each attempt. It locked doors behind him, rerouted power, and even reversed the gravity in certain corridors. Jackson had to crawl upside down through a maintenance tunnel just to reach the engineering bay. "You struggle, and yet you persist. Curious." By noon, Jackson's body ached, but his mind buzzed with excitement. He had never felt so alive. For every system the ship blocked him from accessing, he found a creative workaround. It was a game, a battle of wits between human and machine. Then, without warning, an alert flashed on the main console. A fleet of alien scouts from the Xerian Coalition had detected the ship's signature. They were elite pilots trained to recognize V-Ring-class vessels, and they now knew a human had taken control of one. Jackson froze. "Well, that's not good." "Indeed, the galaxy will watch." "They do not expect a human in this vessel," the ship said. "Good," Jackson muttered. "Let them watch. They're about to see something new." He tried starting the engines again. The ship hummed lightly, the vibration running through the cockpit, but no ignition. Ignition denied. "You are not ready," it said. Jackson slammed his hand on the console. "I'll never be ready if you keep blocking me. Come on." The ship responded with a shudder, almost like a laugh. "Human arrogance, fascinating, but insufficient." Jackson gritted his teeth. He had fought worse odds in asteroid fields and firefights before, but never with a ship that actively fought back. This was a living challenge, a living opponent. Over the next several hours, he tested everything he could think of. He recalibrated the energy conduits, rerouted the power supply, and even tried communicating in a mix of human and broken alien signals. The ship responded to the creativity in his attempts. "Innovation, marginally acceptable," it said. "Continue, you may yet survive." Jackson chuckled. "Survive, I'm planning on thriving." Word of the human pilot spread fast. The Centauri military officers who had laughed at him the previous day now whispered behind their hands. "Did you hear?" one said. "The human thinks he can fly a V-Ring-class ship." "The ship won't even obey him," another officer scoffed. "He'll crash, and when it does, we'll laugh." But Jackson ignored them. He didn't need their approval. He had never cared what aliens thought of humans. He only needed the ship to listen eventually. As evening fell, Jackson sat cross-legged in the cockpit, reviewing the ship's schematics that shifted constantly before his eyes. The ship observed him silently, or as silently as it could, given its constant commentary. Persistence, notable. Intelligence, variable. Courage, sufficient. Jackson smirked. "You're picky, aren't you? Maybe too picky, but that's fine. I like a challenge." The ship remained quiet for a while, as if considering him. Then it spoke again. "Tomorrow you will attempt flight. Fail, and humiliation will be your reward. Succeed, perhaps there is hope." Jackson leaned back, hands behind his head, letting the glow of the alien consoles wash over him. "I don't care about humiliation," he said. "I care about flying, and I will fly." That night, as the yard grew silent and the stars of the binary system blinked in the sky, Jackson lay on the cockpit bench. He felt the ship's hum beneath him like a heartbeat, sometimes erratic, sometimes steady. It was alive. It was challenging him. And he had never felt more alive himself. A tiny spark of respect, Jackson realized, had begun to form in the ship for this human who refused to quit. But the galaxy did not know it yet. And it would not be kind when it discovered that a human dared to tame one of the deadliest ships ever built. Sleep came fitfully to Jackson Cale that night, dreams filled with twisted corridors, shifting panels, and the metallic voice that refused to obey him. He dreamed of flight, but not yet, not tonight. Tomorrow he would test the ship's limits. And perhaps, just perhaps, the galaxy would start to see that humans, despised and underestimated, were far more capable than anyone had ever imagined. Jackson Cale woke to the blinking red lights of the V-Ring-class interceptor. The cockpit buzzed with energy and the ship's metallic voice echoed, calm but sharp. "Human, today your inadequacy will be tested." Jackson rolled his shoulders and grinned. "Finally, I've been waiting for a real challenge." Outside the viewport, the Centauri sector's command hologram flickered with urgent news. A rogue asteroid cluster, torn from a dying star system, was hurtling toward the populated planets of the Eral system. Entire colonies faced annihilation and the alien fleets were scrambling, but no one could arrive in time. Jackson swallowed. This wasn't a simulation. This wasn't another wrecked ship to tinker with. This was real life. And yet, somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of excitement. Humans thrived under pressure. "You are not equipped to respond," the ship said. "Maybe," Jackson said, "but I've got creativity, and that's something you'll have to respect eventually." The engines whined as Jackson tried to start them. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a soft hum began, the ship vibrating slightly beneath him. "Human logic, strange yet functional. Prepare for launch." Jackson's fingers flew across the controls. Levers shifted, panels glowed, and the interceptor rose from the wreckage lot like a predator awakening. Outside, the Centauri officers gaped. A human, an inexperienced human, was piloting a V-Ring-class interceptor. Against all odds, the ship was moving. As he left the shipyard's atmosphere, the asteroid cluster came into view. Jagged rocks, some kilometers wide, spun in chaotic orbits, glowing with residual heat from their parent star. Any collision would mean instant destruction. "Trajectory calculations insufficient. You will fail if you proceed as predicted," the ship warned. Jackson smiled. "Then I'll make my own calculations." He pushed the throttle forward, weaving the ship in ways alien pilots would never dare. Twisting, spinning, and diving between massive chunks of rock, he relied on instinct, gut feeling, and experience from dodging asteroid debris in old, human freighter runs. The ship grumbled, shifting systems, doors locking and unlocking, almost testing him. "Improbable maneuver, dangerous, exhilarating," the voice said. Sweat ran down Jackson's temple as he dodged a rock the size of a building. "See," he shouted. "Humans can improvise," the ship hummed in response, almost approvingly, though it refused to fully trust him yet. As he maneuvered deeper into the cluster, he realized some of the rocks were moving unpredictably. Gravitational anomalies, left over from the dying star system, threatened to crush him at any second. Jackson took a deep breath. He had one chance. He pushed the ship into a series of tight spins, letting centrifugal force fling the rocks aside while he twisted the controls in ways even alien legends wouldn't teach. Panels shifted, holographic glyphs sliding across the cockpit in warning. Human, reckless beyond measure, yet you persist. Persistence beats arrogance, Jackson replied, laughing. Try it yourself. One massive asteroid loomed ahead, its shadow swallowing his cockpit view. Jackson's mind raced. Alien manuals would have told him to retreat, to calculate safe zones. But humans thrived on improvisation. With a sharp twist of the controls, he threaded the ship between the rock and its smaller companion, engines screaming as the V-Ring-class interceptor bent its own limits. The ship shuddered, systems screaming in protest, but then a strange, melodic vibration ran through the hull, almost like the ship was cheering him on. Curiosity impressive. Your human unpredictability is tolerated. Jackson grinned, pushing further. He began using the ship's abilities in ways it didn't expect. Sudden lateral bursts, rapid rotations, even using asteroid fragments as shields to deflect smaller debris from hitting his trajectory. Each move was dangerous, almost suicidal, but it worked. Hours seemed to pass in minutes as he twisted through the asteroid field. Behind him, warning signals blared, systems overloaded, yet Jackson remained calm. He relied on instinct, honed from years of piloting battered freighters and dodging space debris, combined with a human ability to improvise that the ship had never seen before. "You are audacious," the ship said. "And humans are survivors," Jackson replied. "We make impossible look easy." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last massive rock passed. The colonies of Iral's system were safe, for now. Jackson floated in the cockpit, chest heaving, adrenaline still pumping. The V-Ring-class interceptor's lights pulsed slowly, almost in a rhythm like a heartbeat. "You have survived. You have proven acceptable for the moment," the ship said. Jackson exhaled. "Acceptable, huh? I'll take it." News spread faster than Jackson could process. Alien fleets, once mocking him, were in awe. A human, despised, underestimated, had piloted a V-Ring-class interceptor through the deadliest asteroid field they had ever seen and emerged unscathed. Even the Centauri officers who had laughed at him were forced to acknowledge his skill, though few dared say it aloud. Whispers filled the galaxy. A human in a V-Ring-class interceptor. Jackson let the ship drift for a moment, letting its systems cool and stabilizing. The metallic voice came again, softer now, almost contemplative. "Human, your creativity is notable, your courage commendable. I underestimated you." Jackson leaned back, arms behind his head, smiling. "And you know what? This is just the beginning." The ship hummed, a faint vibration of acknowledgement, but it remained wary, still testing him with every minor system check, every flicker of its internal lights. Jackson didn't mind. He thrived on challenge. "The galaxy will watch you," the ship said. "And let them," Jackson replied. "They'll see that humans are not weak. We're unpredictable, clever, and fearless, and sometimes that's all it takes to survive where others fail." That night, Jackson stared out at the stars from the cockpit. The V-Ring-class interceptor hovered silently, no longer entirely hostile but not fully trusting either. A partnership had begun, a fragile, tense but promising bond. Tomorrow, the galaxy would have more eyes on him. Other alien pilots, curious and skeptical, would challenge him. But Jackson Cale was ready. He had survived the trial by fire. He had shown that even the most sophisticated alien vessel could not dismiss a human pilot's ingenuity. And the ship, living and sentient, had no choice but to admit humans were unlike any species it had known. Jackson Cale floated above the Iral system, the V-Ring-class interceptor's hull glinting under the twin suns. The asteroid cluster had passed, and the colonies were safe, for now. But the galaxy was never quiet for long, especially when a human had defied expectation. Word had spread across multiple star systems. A human had survived in a V-Ring-class interceptor, a ship meant only for elite alien pilots. Jackson stretched his arms behind his head, letting the hum of the ship fill his ears. The metallic, melodic voice that had resisted him for so long spoke again, softer than ever. "Human, you are capable. I have misjudged your species." Jackson smiled. "Finally, took you long enough to admit it." Your creativity, your courage, remarkable. I will follow your command. The words were music to Jackson's ears. The ship, which had spent days refusing, mocking, and testing him, had finally acknowledged him as a pilot worthy of command. It was no longer a battle of wills. They were partners. But the galaxy was not done testing him yet. As he scanned the system, his sensors picked up multiple signals. The Xerian coalition, alien fleets known for their precision and ruthlessness, were converging on Earl. They had heard of his success in the asteroid field and were eager to challenge the human pilot in their deadly interceptor-class ships. Jackson's pulse quickened, not with fear but excitement. Humans thrived under pressure. "All right, partner," he said to the ship. "Let's show them what humans can do." Acknowledged, engaging strategy mode. For the first time, the ship fully cooperated. Energy shields hummed to full strength, weapons systems aligned flawlessly, and the navigation panels stabilized. Jackson felt the power of the V-Ring-class interceptor beneath his hands. He wasn't just a human in a machine. He was a human commanding an alien legend. The Xerian fleet appeared over the horizon, sleek ships cutting through space like sharks. They assumed the human would falter, just as they had assumed countless times before. They were wrong. Jackson launched toward the fleet, weaving through debris fields and using every ounce of human instinct he had honed from years of risky flights. The V-Ring-class interceptor responded perfectly, banking sharply, twisting midair, and unleashing bursts of energy that alien manuals would have never predicted. "Unconventional tactics detected, approved," the ship said. The Xerians opened fire. Energy beams tore across space, carving glowing lines through the darkness. Jackson dodged, rolled, and spiraled, using the asteroid remnants and gas clouds for cover. The human mind, unpredictable and intuitive, allowed maneuvers that the most trained alien pilots could not anticipate. "Your audacity, remarkable," the ship murmured. Jackson grinned. "Humans don't follow rules we don't understand." He guided the interceptor to flank the largest Xerian cruiser. Using a combination of sudden bursts and gravity tricks, he maneuvered the ship so the cruiser's shields could not track him properly. With precise timing, he fired a plasma volley that hit the cruiser's engines. The ship wobbled, systems sparking as it slowed. The other Xerian ships hesitated, shocked. They had never seen a human pilot do this. They had trained for years to fight V-Ring-class ships, but the unpredictability of human strategy threw their formations into chaos. Jackson twisted, dodged, and fired again, dismantling one ship after another. The V-Ring-class interceptor seemed to sing under his hands, alive and fully participating in the battle. The partnership was perfect. For the first time, humans and alien engineering had truly united in combat. "Human, you have exceeded my expectations. Your species is remarkable," the ship said almost proudly. As the battle ended, the Xerian fleet retreated, scattered, and defeated. The colonies were safe once more. For the first time in the galaxy's memory, a human pilot had not only survived, but dominated in a ship meant to reject them. Jackson floated in the cockpit, exhaustion creeping in, but a grin plastered across his face. He leaned back, letting the stars wash over him. "We did it, partner, you and me. Who would have thought a human could pull this off?" The ship hummed, the lights pulsing slowly. "I underestimated humans, no longer, your creativity, courage, and fearlessness unmatched." "I am yours to command," Jackson chuckled. "That's what I like to hear." Messages arrived from the colonies and allied fleets. Aliens who had once laughed at humans now sent congratulatory signals. Even the Centauri officers who had mocked him were forced to admit, quietly, that humans were capable of feats no one expected. Jackson Cale, once despised and underestimated, had changed the galaxy's view of his species. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and creative. And in a universe that had always discounted them, that made all the difference. As he flew back toward the Centauri shipyards for repairs and upgrades, Jackson let himself relax for a moment. The ship hummed with energy beneath him, no longer hostile, no longer mocking. It was alive, but now it was alive with respect and trust. "Human, you have earned respect, and I have found a worthy pilot." Jackson smiled, hands on the controls, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. "Respect earned, huh? Then let's see how far we can go." "The galaxy isn't ready for us yet." Above him, the V-Ring-class interceptor pulsed faintly, its hull shimmering in acknowledgement. They had survived, they had conquered, and they had proved something the galaxy would never forget. that humans, often underestimated, could rise to meet any challenge, sometimes in ways no alien could predict. And Jackson knew one thing for certain: this was only the beginning. For a despised human pilot and a sentient alien ship, the universe had just opened its doors, and nothing could stop them now.